Hello, welcome to another GoldMine 101, our regular series of short presentations, giving you hints and tips for getting the most out of GoldMine CRM. And today I'll be demystifying the differences between what's called a sales forecast and an opportunity in GoldMine, the two ways of tracking your sales inquiries, up and coming sales projects, call it what you want. We'll look at how each of these two ways work, when to use one over the other, or how most people would use one over the other, and how you can leverage both to, of course, get the best view of your sales pipeline, so you can make better decisions going forwards. So, hello, I'm Tim Wilmot. My company, Wizard Systems, we're a specialist CRM systems provider who provide normally to small and mid-sized organizations tools, solutions to improve their sales productivity, marketing, and customer service. Now, the audio part of this call is one way only. If you've got any questions I go through, please pop those into the question box on your meeting control panel. Those of you on here live, and I'll do my best to answer those at the end. Also at the end, I'll give you an update on any GoldMine product news we've got for you as of early June 2025. Okay, well, just a little bit of a mention about Wizard Systems. We're a long-standing supplier of GoldMine CRM. And as regards GoldMine, we are a one-stop shop. We provide everything you need. We've been doing it a long, long time. We can provide anything you need as regards GoldMine, the product, upgrades, customization, integration. We do supply a number of popular add-on options to GoldMine. Add-on extensions that further extend GoldMine and CRM beyond what GoldMine does. We provide training as well. Training can be at your place, our place. We're near Bristol, UK, and online as well. And the ongoing support as well. We've got a proactive, permanently manned GoldMine help desk ready to answer any of your calls. Let me take a basic sales forecast first of all. This is the simplest way of tracking sales, and you can create one through the schedule menu to create a forecast sale. Here's one I created earlier. I'll just zoom into this one. So think of it as a simple sale, sometimes a low value sale as well. And this is the standard information that you get with a forecast sale record. These fields can't be customized. They're fixed in GoldMine. So you've got the description of what it is you're selling. You've got a code as well. So you can define like a 3-letter code to like a product category. So if you're, well, in our line of business in IT, we might be selling software, we might be selling services, we might be selling training. So we could devise codes for that. If we want to later do reporting on the sales by product category, we've got the name of the salesperson there. We've got a quantity field as well, the price per unit and the amount, and then the standard probability that you can define what those percentages mean, 0 through to 99. And then, of course, you've got the close by date as well. A simple notes box, but that's basically it for a simple sales forecast. And you can access your sales forecast through your activity list by looking at a particular user or a group of users, and you can see like a tabular view of all of those sales up and coming. And then there are dashboards as well. So you can see in a graphical way with a simple sort of KPI chart, those sales up and coming, sliced and diced how you want it, by user, by date, by type of product, by value, however you want to do it, and filtering out stuff as well. So if you just wanted to see, for example, all sales above £100, you're not interested in the low value sales, you could do that. You could do that as well by building in a filter into your dashboards and reports in GoldMine. So that's a simple sales forecast. Where in your business, if you've got higher value sales or longer, the sales have a longer sales cycle, maybe it can take many months, maybe many years to get a sale from a customer, and or maybe the sales process is quite complex. There's lots of things you've got to do, lots of people to talk to, lots of steps or stages in the sale. Do you, in your business, do you adopt any sales methodology like Miller Hyman, for example, or large account selling? These align themselves really well with the use of the opportunity manager in GoldMine. So against this customer record here, I've got a tab, opportunities. So opportunities will be on a tab of their own, whereas forecast sales will be jumbled up with all the other things that might be going on with that client, phone calls, unanswered emails, and so on. But opportunities, they stand out a little bit more, and we can track a lot more information about them. So here's one I created earlier. You can create a new one by right-clicking here and selecting new. If I just double-click on this one, I'm now zooming into that opportunity in a little bit more detail. The opportunity record is split into two halves. Top half of the screen, as per normal in GoldMine, the main information about that opportunity. Many of these fields are, again, fixed, but you can change the labels on those. And you do get 5 custom fields that you can use for your own purposes to track other key information about that opportunity. So in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, I've just created a couple of custom fields there. Budget, maybe I need to track the budget of this client or this opportunity, number of users, some other scale of the size of the opportunity, and so on. But we've got here, as standard, we've got the name or description of the sale. Of course, everything is linked to a primary contact, but there are ways of linking it to other contacts in your system where there may be many different people involved on a sale. We've got the primary manager of the sale. We can, again, like a forecast sale, we can again categorize this opportunity. So if you want to track your opportunities by type of project, you could do that there. We've got the status of the opportunity. Again, you can customize these drop-down lists here to define what the overall status is of that opportunity. And then stage, going back to what I said earlier, when you think of your sales, when you think of your opportunities, your bigger sales, do you think of them of going through distinct stages from kind of step 1 through to hopefully getting an order? So that's where you can customize those. We also have the source of this opportunity. Of course, you've got the source of the contact record. So I got this original inquiry from a website, might have been my website or a website, but this opportunity also has its own source field as well. That could be different from the primary, the first source. So when you get that brand new inquiry, maybe they came along to your stand at a trade show. That might be the initial primary source. But then subsequently, maybe 6 months later, 12 months later, you get an inquiry from them again. That might be useful to know that that inquiry came from something else, like a pay-per-click advert or some mailing or some promotion or a referral. It might be important for you to know of that secondary lead source. Then we have a summary of sales information. This opportunity is made up of a number of different sales. More on that in a minute. We've got the overall probability of this opportunity. We've got the accumulated sales value of this opportunity across one or multiple sales. And then we've got 3 dates: the start date of the opportunity, when do we expect to close it by, and the actual close by date, and any sort of close sale information as well. Now, this opportunity can be split into a number of different sales forecasts, and that's available to you. That will be displayed to you on this products and services tab. So across the middle of the opportunity record, you've got a row of tabs there, and you can have more tabs or less tabs as you want to. One of those main tabs there is product services. So this is where you could record individual sales or maybe quotes. Maybe this opportunity consists of multiple quotations over time. And they're each individual sales forecast, exactly as we saw before. If I just double click on this one, a very simple sales forecast record. So I've got here product number 1, could have a code, could have a different salesperson, the value of the sale, the probability of the sale, and the forecast sale date, which could be different from the actual opportunity date. So you can actually get quite granular, quite a little bit more detailed with the individual sales that build up this big sales opportunity. So here's product number 2, double click here. This is for 3,000, 25% probability, different forecast sell date, and so on. So a really good way of tracking the individual sales against that big opportunity. You do have some other tabs here that may be of use to you, particularly where you're involved in large account selling, or you're using the Miller-Hyman principle of selling large value sales into big accounts. So we've got an influencer tab here. This is where we can link to other contacts in our database or miscellaneous contacts that have got some kind of influence. They've got some kind of relationship to this opportunity, and we can rank them, and we can describe what role they've got on that opportunity. We've also got tasks. This is where you can define like a Gantt type chart, like a project. So all those different stages that you've got to go through from the early days through to the completion of the project, you can have like a graphical Gantt view there, rather like a project. Team is where you can define your own co-workers, colleagues, issues. What issues have you got in the completion of this sale? Maybe there's some kind of competition or some technical requirement you've got to get through. You could pop that in there. You've got notes, you've got competitors. Again, you can define them, record them. They may or may not be records in your own GoldMine CRM database, but you can rank them as regards how you think you fare against them. So you can do a little bit of analysis there over those kind of red flag warnings. And then details links is a way of defining any custom fields against this opportunity and or any external documents. So if you've got a meaty proposal, a Word document, a PDF, images, they can be stored in there for easy retrieval, centrally storing them against that opportunity. Then penning in history, they're just like penning in history against your contact record. So think of opportunities as really your solution in GoldMine for tracking those big sales. It takes a little bit more time to fill in all the information, of course, and users need to be, I would say users need to be committed to keeping it up to date. Because you've got more information in there, then the onus is on the users to make sure they keep everything up to date, so that when you do your reporting, your opportunity reporting, your dashboard reporting, you know that when that report is fresh, you've got pretty much up to date information. So it needs commitment from everyone to make sure you can fill in all of that information. So there you are then. 2 ways of tracking sales in GoldMine. Simple way, low value sales with the forecast sale capability visible on the pending tab of the client's record, and then the more embracing full Monty approach with an opportunity. Right, so if there's any questions that you may have about this feature, I'd be happy to answer those of you on here live. I can see a couple of questions. First one from Penny: how can we customize opportunity stages and fields in GoldMine to match our sales process, and what impact does this have on reporting and forecasting? So, of course, you've got custom fields in GoldMine. Well, let me just say that you've got the record of the customer, the contact record in GoldMine, and then linked to that can be one or many opportunities. There are custom fields. There are a few custom fields against the opportunity, and there's almost unlimited custom fields against the contact record in GoldMine. When you come on to reporting, then you can report on any or combination of that information from the customer record and the opportunity. As regards your unique sales process, then you can define, I guess you're talking there about the steps or stages that you might go through. Well, you can customize that drop-down list. There's the stage field against the opportunity. You might have some kind of stage field against the customer record as well. But normally you'd have a stage field against the opportunity, and you'd have in there from step one through to the conclusion of the project. You'd have all your different stages in the language that you define. And that would be how you could do that reporting. So you could, for example, when you come onto reporting and dashboards, you could have your reports grouped and sorted by sales stage. So for example, give me a report of all sales at stage one. And then in the next section, all sales at stage two, and so on, with a little subtotal against each one. You can group and sort. When you come on to reporting and forecasting, you can group and sort by any of that information. So give it some thought. We'd be happy to help you out, Penny, if you need any further advice there. And of course, everyone's sales process is going to be a little bit different. And that's where you need to think about the customization of those fields in GoldMine, and also within the field, the drop-down list of options. So when a user selects that field, when they click in there with their cursor, up pops, in a logical order, up pops a list of choices to put into that field. And I think key for you would be those opportunity stages. Next question from Ken. Is it possible to automate workflows or trigger alerts based on changes to opportunity status or probability? And how can this be set up for advanced pipeline management? Right. Well, of course, in GoldMine, there's automation. There's automated processes that we've actually covered on a number of previous 101 sessions, and a few of those recently, where you can build up an automated sequence in the background. 24/7, GoldMine is monitoring itself, looking for things to do. So on an opportunity, if something changes, so yes, so you can trigger in an opportunity, I'm trying to think now, on an opportunity, you can trigger on the overall status. So if it's won or lost, or if it's still open. So that the three main statuses are open, you've just created the opportunity. And then when you know the outcome of the opportunity, it's then either won or lost. The user, when they know the outcome, they change that. So that's an available trigger when you set up an automated process. We don't tend to call it workflows in GoldMine. We call it processes, automated processes. So yes, an action could trigger on that, change of status. Not sure about probability, need to check that, but you can do stage. So when an opportunity jumps from stage 1 to stage 2, maybe user Fred needs a message, because user Fred needs to do something with that opportunity. So that could be another alert, another action, as automated processes calls it, another action. It could be an alarm on Fred's screen, on user Fred's screen, for him to do something against that opportunity. So, yeah, we on the automation, we can't, in the standard automation in GoldMine, you can't trigger on everything within an opportunity, but certainly on the status and the stage and the user, you can. I'm not sure about the probability. I'll check later and get back to you. And then, of course, making sure that if you're doing any advanced pipeline management, then you've got the appropriate report that is focused on those stages or actions relating to those triggers. Right. I don't think there's any more questions here. Thanks to the two of you for that. Let me cover latest news for you as of early June 2025. The latest version of GoldMine is 2025.2. You've got to have a GoldMine maintenance contract to be able to access this. You can get that from Wizard Systems, and it's an annual contract, if you like, and it gives you access to all of the latest versions as they become available. So please contact us if you haven't got one of those already. Do you fancy a CRM review there? Has it been some time since, say, someone like ourselves, we've come in, normally we do this via an online meeting, and we set aside like an hour or two just to go through your GoldMine, how you're using it, and then come up with a plan, a strategy going forwards about getting better use out of GoldMine. Some adjustments, training, whatever. So contact us, contact any of us here at Wizard Systems to get that scheduled in, a free CRM review. And if you're a GoldMine user, please email me for any suggestions on future topics. Love to hear from you. But if you can think of something that you believe would be of interest to other GoldMine users or your colleagues, then again, drop us a line. So thanks very much to those of you on here live, or if you're watching a recording. There's our various ways of contacting us, and all of our previous one-on-one sessions are up on our YouTube channel. Just go up to YouTube, do a search for Wizard Systems or GoldMine CRM playlist, and you'll inevitably find us up there. A whole stack load of videos up there. So thanks very much to those of you on here live. Catch up with you on the next event. Thanks so much indeed. Bye-bye.